I went to an out-of-state college in the fall of 1987. I spent my last few semesters away at college with a roommate in an apartment, rather than in a dorm. It was cheaper and a lot more fun. Over my last summer, my roommate met a guy. I thought he was a major loser. He was constantly berating my roommate for things she did in our apartment. He drank non-stop vodka, whiskey, or, if he could get it, Everclear, highly potent grain alcohol. I don't think I ever saw the guy not acting like a fool. There was a stray cat in the complex who followed me inside one day. He became my cat for a while. This cat loathed the boyfriend. One morning I'm woken up by the most horrified scream. Roommate and her boyfriend had 2-hour screaming match the night before. Apparently the cat didn't like that. He vomited in her shoes and her boyfriend's shoes. Then he came in to snuggle with me. The loser boyfriend wanted to kill the cat over a pair of shoes or two. I told him that I would neuter him if he came near the cat. I also told him to stop being mean and the cat would stop. After all, the cat never vomited on or near me or any of my stuff. Over the course of that year, my roommate and her loser went through a ton of shoes, several backpacks, many shirts left on the floor, and even the occasional random dish of food left sitting for 30 to 45 seconds. All because of Ralph Kitty. He was an overall very sweet kitty. He didn't jump on counters. He would come supervise me in the shower so that the horrible boyfriend couldn't sneak in to watch me shower. He was super snuggly with me and he adored my boyfriend. The guy I dated around that time wasn't a cat person, but he loved playing with Ralph Kitty. One of their favorite things to do was for my boyfriend to blow bubbles over the railing while the cat was down in the courtyard chasing them. This drove my roommate and her boyfriend nuts because the cat just refused to do anything with them other than sneak food, vomit, and give them nasty glares. Of course I gave him treats for being mean to the loser boyfriend. The absolute worst episode of revenge was right after I took the cat to the vet. He was a long-haired cat, so he had hairballs. The main way to treat hairballs? A laxative. The vet dosed him with the laxative, and I drove home as fast as I could. I left notes and also told my roommate and her boyfriend that the cat needed to stay locked in my bedroom until the medicine was done in 12 to 24 hours. I even told them what the medicine was and how it worked. They let the cat out and tried to snuggle with him locked in my roommate's room. Who on earth would do that with a cat that just had a laxative? The reason he was put into my room was that he always used the litter box in my room. Of course the medicine worked about 2 hours into my roommate's nap. Ralph Kitty even started it right where she put him, under her covers. I came home to her entire room reeking of cat poop, and my roommate tried to blame me for the cat crapping under her covers. I showed her the reminders to not let the cat out, reminded roommate that I told her not to do that, let the cat out, and then asked her what kind of fool tries to snuggle on her bed with a cat who just had a large dose of laxative. She ended up sleeping on the floor for a couple of weeks until she managed to get a new mattress. I'm just going to get right into it. Today my friend and I went to Harris Teeter for ice cream. As we were driving into the parking lot looking for spaces, this woman crossed in front of us and left her empty shopping cart in the stripped, lined space between the handicap spaces. She went back to her SUV and waited to back out of her space. I hopped out of the car my friend was driving and grabbed the cart and put it right behind her car before she could back out any. I ran back to our car and we both laughed for a bit before going in to get our popsicles. So this happened years ago, but I still smile when I think about it. I started to date this girl after she split with her previous bloke. He had been given a large inheritance and was always a bit flash with the cash and generally was a knob. We were together for a while, but we ended up splitting up. She then got back together with the same bloke. I was working in a pub club at the time and I came in. He was all smug and brought her to the bar and said, "Oh, I bust you and I want your finest champagne." She was looking a little uncomfortable about the situation and made excuses to go to the loo. I thought to myself, okay, and then said it's going to take a while as the champagne needs to be chilled for a while. He said, "Whatever, I don't care, I'm going to treat her like you never could." I proceeded to go to the cellar and get a bottle of Asti Spumant. For those of you that don't know this beverage, it's basically a very cheap sparkling wine we bought in for around $5. wife and sold it for 15. Can't remember the right price, but this is around the mark. I then got a nice bucket, the nice glasses, and went and said it would be ready in about 30 minutes. I charged him 120. The silly fare didn't even know. He was sitting so smugly when I went and delivered his finest champagne. I thought that I had made a post before, but it must just be a comment somewhere. So background first. For some reason, me immediate next door neighbors hate and mildly dislike my wife, and have convinced their immediate neighbors on the other side to also dislike us. It's not a huge concern, but the thing is, we used to be pretty close to these neighbors. We even had Christmas dinner together one year. The thing that does get at me though, is that we both have daughters around the same age, and they are confused about the situation, and don't know how to act when they see each other. I stopped saying hi to the neighbor's child, because I assume she gets in trouble when she talks to me. So how did it start? I don't really know. Through the rumor mill, she has told other neighbors that I abused her and her child after she refused to lend me a power tool. My version is that I asked him in the middle of the week if I could borrow the tool on the weekend. He said yes. So on the Saturday I went over to get it. He wasn't there, so I talked to her. She said it belonged to her, not him, and I couldn't borrow it, and I should go buy my own. I said I wasn't going to do that, because after today I'd never need it ever again, but if she doesn't want to loan it, I'd figure something else out. The next day they came to my daughter's birthday party and everything was fine, but then they didn't talk to us again for 2 years, and when they did, it was to complain about our dog. So on to the petty revenge. Probably getting close to 2 years ago, I noticed that we were in a silent tidy house competition. And I should be clear, they were in a tidy house competition with us. I was not in a competition with anyone. I mow the grass when it gets long, and I have some time, but I take my time and do it properly so that I can do it less often. I do all the edges with a whippersnipper. I'll usually neaten the bush and then mow the grass and pick up with bush trimmings with the mower. So when I'm done, it looks pretty good. But what I noticed was that it didn't seem to matter when I mowed or when the last time my neighbor mowed. If I mow the yard, he mows less than 24 hours later. I thought I was just being silly, but I started to take note. Sure enough, that's exactly what happens. I also noticed that he won't start because I've started. He'll wait. He won't start until after I've finished. I happen to like mowing in the afternoon when it starts to get cooler. I often finish right on sunset and then sit down and have a beer, enjoying the sunset and the smell of fresh cut grass. If I finish early enough in the afternoon, out he goes about 10 minutes after I finish and gets to work in his front yard. So now I intentionally mow in the late afternoon so that I finish about half an hour before sunset so that he has enough time to get started, but every time he finishes in the dark. Oh, and I also make sure that I do this on a Sunday so it's right at the end of his weekend. But last week, I turned that crap up. I work from home and it was a quiet week at work. So on Wednesday I pruned the 50 meters of hedges that line my back fence. Now they are perfectly straight. On Thursday I did all the edges and all the mowing and cleaned everything up. On Friday I power washed the concrete out the front and also power washed my side and the top of our shared red brick fence. On Saturday morning I washed both my and my wife's car and left them parked out the front so he would see. All up, about 2 hours work each day. So what do you think happened? After lunch on Saturday, when he got home, he pulled out the mower and started mowing and finished just before sunset. On Sunday he washed both his and his wife's car. His hedges still look like crap though. I know it's killing me since both our hedges can be seen from the front of the house and his side of the brick fence looks like crap in comparison. I on the other hand, have had a super relaxing weekend since all my chores were done. I took my daughter fishing. We watched some cartoons from when I was a kid and the whole family took the dog for a walk. Thank you for watching. Slap that like button and comment your opinion on these stories below. I'm waiting. Write that comment. Seriously. Have you written it yet? If you don't comment, you make a bunny cry somewhere. You're not that kind of person. I know. Anyways, peace out and catch you tomorrow.